FlexDeploy installation and upgrade process is simple and takes just a few minutes. This video will demonstrate a FlexDeploy installation and upgrade and show a sample configuration file. Upgrades are always included with your FlexDeploy license. Upgrade so that you can take advantage of new features, enhancements, and bug fixes. On the left side of the video, I'm going to begin an installation. I've already downloaded the FlexDeploy 6.0 zip file and completed the prerequisite checking. The prerequisite check takes care of downloading the necessary software if the FlexDeploy server has internet access. But if your FlexDeploy server doesn't have access to the internet, the installer will ask you to download and transfer the files to specific locations where they can be used. I will now run the installation with the N argument. The -N argument instructs the installer to use the local installation files instead of downloading them again from Flexagon.com. The -C argument is always used, and it specifies where the configuration file is located. The right side window is going to show the contents of my configuration file. If you have an existing installation and are using the installer for an upgrade for the first time, the first three properties are important to set correctly from your current FlexDeploy installation. Once the file is set up correctly, you won't have to modify it again for future upgrades. If you're running your FlexDeploy server with HTTPS, or use a single sign-on provider or a password management tool for your FlexDeploy application database password, you'll find that upgrades are easiest when you set the maintain existing server and context file properties to 1. Whether you choose to maintain your files or not, the installer compares your context and server XML files to the versions that shipped with the new FlexDeploy installation. If they're different, the diff will be shown to you when you run the prerequisite checks, so that you can make an informed decision about whether to keep your changes or not. After the installation or upgrade finishes, you can modify the files if needed. Another property that's required is the InfluxDB token. FlexDeploy uses Influx database, a time series database that is used to manage metrics for the dashboard and project insights. Add a sequence of letters or numbers as the value for the InfluxDB token. Once it's set, you won't need to alter it again on future upgrades. Setting the alternate FlexDeploy software version would tell FlexDeploy to download an older version instead of the latest release. Remember that when running with the N argument, no download will be performed. I left the system database password blank. I don't want that stored in my file, so I'm prompted during the install and upgrade process. While FlexDeploy 6.0 finishes starting up, I'm going to start an upgrade to FlexDeploy 6.01. You wouldn't need to do that as two separate steps. I'm just doing it for the purpose of this video. The configuration file that I just used for my installation of FlexDeploy 6.0 works perfectly for future upgrades. Best practice would be to download and unzip the installer each time before upgrading, in case a new version of the installer is available. The modified configuration file from your first installation or upgrade using the installer should already have been copied to a separate location, so that when you unzip the new installer zip, you don't lose your changes to the file. The installer will automatically update your config to a new version if needed. Upgrading FlexDeploy with the installer defaults to backing up the artifacts, Tomcat installation, plugins, and database. If you have independent backups or VM snapshots that you wish to use, the -I argument will ignore the database backup, and the -A argument will skip backing up the artifacts. Now in just a few minutes, you guessed it, the new version of FlexDeploy will be ready to go. In this video, we learned how simple FlexDeploy installations and upgrades are to perform. There are just a few properties in the configuration file that you need to fill in, and you're ready to enjoy the next version of FlexDeploy. It's easy to stay current with FlexDeploy. Upgrade today. Take advantage of the new features, enhancements, and bug fixes found in the next release of FlexDeploy. Thanks for watching.